Okay, welcome. My name is Bob Gettings, and I'll be the host of this session. And our speaker is Timmy Ang, and his topic is ClassDojo implementation for the university setting. So please go ahead.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for recording. My name is Timmy Yang, and the title, as was mentioned, is ClassDojo for the university setting. Some of you may have heard about this application before, and most of the time it's used for the elementary kids, but I think it works quite well for the university. So when I start a class, usually I tend to think of a mindset. And so I'm not sure if people are familiar with these two individuals, but on the left side, you have Dick Vernon, which is he's really a disciplinarian, and he's super strict and not really a fun educator or teacher. And on the right side, you have the Simpsons character called Mr. Bergstrom, and he's he's inspirational and he's fun. So I think about which individual I am when I start the lesson, and when I end the lesson, I sort of also think which person was I more of during the class. This Before we start with ClassDojo, one of the reasons why I use it is because I was looking for ways to sort of control my class, and so I researched what disruptive behavior was. And so these are examples of disruptive behavior, and disruptive behavior prevents learning from happening, and it also examples of this, as you can see there, just some of them are noise and interruptions, students that are using their cell phones without permission, arrogant, hostile behavior, rudeness, improper attire, arguments or disagreements either among the students or between you and the students. And the last one is eating food or drinking beverages. A disruptive class means stress and burnout for teachers. Some of you can relate to this. During the course of semester, you'll have you like absolutely awesome classes, but then you'll have some that you have to just push through because they're a little bit more rowdy and disruptive than your other classes. How do we handle this? There's 6 methods here. It's a variety of them. Sometimes peer reporting, which is that you ask the students to sort of check on each other's behavior. The traditional punitive discipline, where you have warnings or suspensions, and in extreme cases, there possibly grade penalties or expulsion. There's also direct intervention, and by direct intervention, that is more of taking the student and talking to him after class. You can change the seating arrangements. And another one is Zen. I experienced this when I was teaching a quick intensive course at a high school before, where after lunch, there would be just 5 minutes of contemplation, and they would play like really meditative or Zen music on the PA speaker. I thought that was interesting, so I sort of incorporated that in some of my classes. Finally, contingency management is where a group or individual receives a reward or consequence for behavior. And so contingency management is linked to the token economy. And so the token economy is a form of contingency management where tokens can be given for certain types of behavior that you want to promote, whether it's good behavior, and then you can also subtract points as well. But the points that you get, you can actually retrieve them, redeem them for prizes. So there are many ways to say this, but what I found easy to remember is the token economy. And to use token economy, you can either use physical tokens, but I found in a digital sense, I use ClassDojo. And so ClassDojo is a multi-platform, freely distributed, fun, and easy to use application tools that allows teachers like us to digitize and track and reward behaviors in the class. Students are given points for certain actions they perform in class, and these points can also be taken away. I use it mostly for my communicative and speaking driven classes, but I've also been able to use this for some of my writing classes as well, in particular an academic writing class. And sometimes you include some speaking activities, and those count for participation points. This app tries to promote some things, and the things that they're trying to promote, traits in particular, are these listed: productivity, um, cooperation and participation, awareness and accountability, and conscience and discipline. So I've been talking about sort of like a disciplining thing, but also on the other hand, I found the app very useful to motivate my students. And so it's midway through my presentation. I feel the best way is to show you a demonstration of the application. And if I don't get too much into detail, if I skim too much, I apologize. But you can ask me later, I guess, at the end if you want something to be given more detail. So I log into ClassDojo either on my iPad or this, and what I'm showing to you now is the website version of it. I recommend that you download it on your phone or on your tablet device. This is the main screen, and what you have here is classes underneath, and you can see them here. And what I do is I'll have an activity. And so, for example, my academic writing or let's choose maybe the business English class. And so I'll have their names here, and they have all these cute avatars and everything. And I'll have an activity. And once a student, let's say, guesses a correct answer, basically I click on that student and I click on answered question, and it makes an audible sound, which it makes like a bell sound. I'll try to sort of copy, I'll try to sort of play for it right now. Hopefully it comes out, sorry. So that's what happens. And at the same time, if the student is misbehaving, I usually have a general thing called boo-boo. And so I'm going to press that right now as well. And as you can see, when you do that, it indicates there. And I usually connect this to the screen so everybody can see that. So once again, if he answered the question correctly, ClassDojo records it and everybody can see this. I usually send this to my class if they want an update. There are lots of places in this app that I have not maximized fully. One thing that I find really interesting, aside from giving points and subtracting, and also here, by the way, you have the redeem thing. You can redeem their points and you can have, let's say, coffee with the teacher or a certain prize or maybe chocolates. We'll get into that later. But that's the main crux, I guess, of this application. But don't let that limit you to what else it can do. And for me, I also use this a lot. Sometimes as teachers, we try to figure out who we want to call, and this application does it for you. By clicking random, it allows you to choose a student like this randomly. And I've used this on many occasions. Another thing I want to talk about is the group making function, which is clicking on this allows you to create groups. Of course, right now we're doing it online, so I think Zoom does this for us. But if this were a physical classroom setting, this is very, very useful. So as you can see here, it's also giving you a group. And so that's what we have so far. We also have a timer here as well. And so I encourage you to explore the app. Noise meter, I have used that once or twice, but really in just extreme situations. Okay, moving forward. There's a set list that I go through every time I do this to implement this. So it's the first day of class. I'm trying